Hello, I'm Chard. Welcome to, or welcome back to, our Chard's YouTube channel. Yesterday morning I was trying to decide which was going to be our next YouTube video shoot, because we've got a list as long as your arm of subjects we want to cover, and we try to vary it so we're not doing the same thing or very similar thing each week. But when I arrived in to our head office, Highside Blackpool, I think I'd already posed the question, what should we do? And I was hoping somebody would have a couple of ideas that may then we'd make a decision which one to do. Anyway, only been a few seconds and somebody said, well, there's an interesting lot that came in today. We got 40 fake sovereigns in from one person in one go. I went, oh, okay, let's have a look. It sounds interesting. Now, 40 is a large quantity of fake sovereigns to come in at one go. Most days we get offered some fake coins. They might be sovereigns, they might be who knows what, but there's almost never a day goes by without seeing some fakes. But we don't often see 40 gold sovereigns all at one time, and on a quick reckoning that's for 20-some thousand pounds worth, and these were obvious fakes. Now sometimes in fact, our very first YouTube video was how to spot a fake sovereign, I think. And we were trying to actually show people how to spot fakes. It's not absolutely easy because different fakes can be spotted by in different ways. So this lot are all really super obvious fakes. These should never fool anybody, but they obviously did. And where do we tell the story? They arrived in what we call a distance buy-in. They got sent them along with a form which said 40 sovereigns, and we had a look at them, and it was instantly obvious to our customer service member that opened them that, hey, these are all fakes, and they're all Middle East fakes, probably from, well, in this case, we know from Dubai. And you can tell. We're showing you photos of them now. We'll have a look. There were actually, when I went through them, there's 4 different types. The first type I'm looking at now, there are 29 pieces of these. They're dated 1911. They've got King George V head on, which is right. That's the first year of George's reign. So it's probably a popular date for forging in the Middle East. They're so shiny and they're so kind of bright and polished looking that they could only be fakes, and almost anybody should be able to tell these from genuine ones. But the other big thing that's a big clue on these is it's got 22 CT stamped on it there. Well, when I say stamped, it's raised. So what the workshop or the manufacturers of these have done, they've made presumably a mould, because I think these are cast. They've engraved or stamped 22 CT on it. And of course, on the actual coin it reverses and it's raised instead of in goose. Every single one of these is very, very similar. Big question is there the right amount of gold in? And yes, there is. Whenever we do this and we discuss fakes, we're always asked the same question, and I actually try to deal with it every time. But if I included everything in every video, these videos would be days and weeks long instead of 20 minutes. They're too long as it is. So first thing, let's put one on the scale. We're putting this on a carat balance, and this is coming out at 40.225 carats, metric carats. Sovereigns weigh approximately 7.99 grams. So the first thing, this coin's overweight. Genuine sovereigns are never made substantially overweight like this. They're all meant to lose too much money on them. And in case I didn't mention, these are a London mint design, because there's no mint mark on. So this is a copy of a 1911 London mint sovereign. So firstly, it's too heavy, which is kind of good news if you're buying them, because it means you're getting a bit more than you were paying for, maybe. And then the next thing is, what's the gold content? Well, the stamped 22 CT, even if the customer hadn't told us when he bought them, we would have worked out these were Middle East, some of maybe Saudi, probably Dubai. It's the biggest centre for gold in the Middle East. And so what do? We'll test the gold content. The fact that the stamped 22 CT means I would fully expect them to be at least 22 carat and possibly a whisker over. When you're dealing with Arab and Muslim countries like this, Sharia law applies, and the merchants there are very honest to a degree. So if they sell something that's at least 8 grams, it has to be at least 8 grams. And if it's supposed to be 22 carat gold, it has to be at least 22 carat gold. If it isn't, they have harsh punishments. So when you buy something there, you can, within reason, expect it to be about what you were buying and paying for. We're putting it on our X-ray diffraction machine to see what it is. 22 carat should come out at 916.66% pure gold, and this one is coming out at 92.4. We don't need to go to the details. There's also 12 parts per thousand of silver in there, which is what makes it surprisingly yellow. There's normally only about 3 or 4 parts per thousand of silver in something like a 1911 sovereign. So there you go. They weigh too much and there's too much gold in them. So what's wrong with that, you might think? Well, the fakes. It seems that it's quite legal in Dubai for jewellers or manufacturers and workshops to make their own fake sovereigns. And are they honest or are they dishonest about this? It's hard for us to tell. I've not visited Dubai, so one day I ought to go in the name of research and check out and talk to people there to see what they say about them. But it does appear that it's quite legal for them to make their own jewellers' copies of sovereigns. Whether they tell customers that they are genuine sovereigns or whether they tell them the homemade ones, we don't know. But you're getting the right amount of gold. In fact, you're getting slightly too much gold. Is that a bad thing? Well, yes, it is. Because when you come to sell them, certainly, well, in most parts of the world, it's illegal to sell counterfeit coins. You can go to jail for it. So there are some legal defences if you've got valid reasons, but we don't even want to get involved in that. So what we do when we buy fakes like this, we try and document them. So we always try and get photos. If they're very interesting, we'll do a video like this, and then as soon as we can, we scrap them and get our money back within a small profit for doing the job. But the video we like to do for educational purposes. Sometimes it's an education for me because we don't see 40 in one day. So that's the first packet, 29 there, all the same. The next packet, there were 5 in this, and these were all 1926 with an SA mint mark for the Pretoria Mint in South Africa. Let me just check back on something on the 1911s because, oh yes, I'm forgetting. Another noticeable clue on this one is stamped under the head on what's called the obverse are the lowercase initials DMS. I'm guessing that's a manufacturer or a workshop initials. It might be a shop's initials. I did try to look it up, but I couldn't actually find anything on Google that explained it. Every one of that 29 has that DMS signature on. So the next one I was talking about, 1926 SA. Let's have a look at these. These don't have the DMS on, but on the reverse, they're stamped with quite a large stamp, 22 CT. And again, if you didn't know anything about sovereigns, but you look this up anywhere, genuine sovereigns don't have 22 CT stamped on them. That's a quality stamp that's put on in Dubai in this case. And that's a big clue to anybody who knows nothing about sovereigns. It should be a big clue that they're not actual, real, genuine gold sovereigns. Should we Niton test this? We can put it on the scale and weight in any case. And this is going to be over 40 grams. Oh, actually, no, that's almost precisely right. Now, I hadn't weighed every single coin, and one of our staff team members did say some of the weights were slightly lower than 40 grams or slightly low for a sovereign, but most of them are actually high. If I tested another one from the bag, it might be okay. They might all be the same. But we haven't got time to do all that in this one video, otherwise we'll be here for weeks. We'll put it on the X-ray machine and see what we're coming out with here. Again, it's coming out slightly high. We're getting things like gold plate not detected, which is good to hear. We're getting a similar gold composition. We're nearly halfway through, but 92.7% gold, 22 carat is 91.66 recurring. It's also got 13 parts per thousand of silver, and again, that's why that looks a very nice bright yellow. I don't think we need to wait for that test to finish because we already know the answer. We'll put that one away. So that's the second packet. Then we come to, there's some more 1911 London mints here, and there's how many of these? 4 of these. Like the last coin, this has got a large 22K stamped on this. Americanism for carat because they spell it with a K. We do it with a C. Nothing stamped on the obverse. Not too surprising. Let's just see how the weight goes on that. This carat balance is so sensitive that you should really do the weighing with the windows shut because current of air will disturb it. And there we go. Ooh, almost exactly like that. Just slightly under 40 grams, which is where it should be. Maybe made in a different workshop, we don't know. Let's put this on the Niton machine. Most of this testing we don't actually need to do because our staff member that saw them knew instantly they were fakes. You can see the marks on them, which almost spells fake. I saw them, the same thing. They look fake from 10 yards away. They're so shiny. They're quite thin looking and the relief is awful. We're going through these other things to show what you can do at home. You can weigh them, check the weights. If they're overweight, they're going to be fake. But not everybody will have one of these at home. You might have a Sigma machine, but that might not help you because if it's got to be 22 carat, it will show us 22 carat. So you know better informed if you find that out. Very similar results. Look, 92.7% gold. Again, we've got 14 parts per thousand silver on here. A trace of nickel showing in this one, which is slightly unusual, but we do see it in fakes. That's enough. We conclude that's got too much gold. We know that's the fake. These two are 1925 allegedly South Africa mint ones, and again this has got some interesting marks on it. No stamps on the obverse, but on the reverse it says Y22. Now I don't know what the Y stands for or signifies. Might be a workshop. It might stand for some Arabic word meaning carat or gold. I don't know. I did actually have a quick Google and I found a Reddit post from some years ago saying, why do these sovereigns say Y22 on them? It was a very old post and it had been archived, which is very common on Reddit, so I wasn't able to respond. But yeah, that's the couple we've got that say Y22. Let's see what they weigh. Yeah, this one's just a touch over 40 carat, so just over 8 grams, so it's overweight. And George has been eating too much dragon pie, I think. Let's put it on this machine, and we're going to guess at 92.6 or 7% gold. Again, gold plate not detected, as expected. Now, this is actually showing at about within the right range for 22 carat, because we're showing 91.9 and then 0.5 error, which is quite a high error rate. If we take that 0.5 off the 91.9, it could be 91.4, which is just below 22 carat. So now the error rates come down a little bit. The longer you leave them on test, the lower the error rate because it's a bigger sample. So that is actually within the normal range for 22 carat gold, which is interesting. That's the first one that hasn't got too high a carat on, but it is just over. So not particularly conclusive, but probably from a different workshop. And that's it. So that's all 40 coins that we've checked and worked through. We always get asked, why do people make fake sovereigns and put too much gold in them, or the right amount of gold? How can they make a profit on that? There's a couple of different answers. Firstly, from about 1925 onwards, and roughly when the gold standard ended in the UK, until about 1957 or a little bit later, gold sovereigns traded at quite a high premium. I can remember them being over 40% premium. And obviously, if you're going to make fakes, and even if you make them 1 or 2% too good, because there's too heavy or too much weight, and you can sell them for 40% premium or sell them wholesale for 30% or 20% premium, you can make big fat profits out of them. There's another possibility, because just before we started shooting this video, we actually tried to see what prices are being asked for gold sovereigns in Dubai. Obviously, this isn't the same as going to the shops there and asking physically. And there's not many people that have their gold sovereigns online. But we did find one site, 21k British sovereign gold coin, King George V. Dubai dirhams, 3,628.57. And I checked the exchange rate on that, and that came to, when I calculated it, £741.86. The intrinsic gold content in a sovereign right now, £563.81. And it probably varied a few pence, so maybe a pound or so since I calculated it, perhaps before we started the video. But that works out to something like 29% premium over the gold content at an asking price. So yes, if you can make sovereigns, and they cost you 1 or 2% over the gold content, and you can get 29% for them from tourists or other customers, there's a very healthy profit to be made there. That's at least two reasons why people would make fake gold sovereigns and put the right amount, or sometimes too much, gold in them. And again, other people say, every time we do a video or post anything about this, oh, well, if the gold's right, well, what's the problem then? Well, the problem is it's illegal to sell these in the UK, and in most of the world it's illegal to sell them. We certainly can't sell them as genuine sovereigns. And if an individual owns them, you don't know the gold content's good, you don't know whether they're right, you have to check the weight. They're not as desirable as the genuine article. So we're good lads, and we scrap them. We've obviously photographed these, we've done the video. In the morning, these will be going in our melting pot, and within about a week, we will have recycled them into new gold. We'll have bought some gold Britannias or new gold sovereigns with them, and they will be good saleable material. Now, when we buy fakes, we only buy them at a scrap gold rate. Our scrap gold buying rates are higher, and a lot higher than you would get at most pawnbrokers and jewellers and most other dealers, but they're not as much as we would pay for a genuine sovereign. A genuine, normal, typical grade bullion sovereign, typically we pay about 99% of intrinsic, sometimes 99.5%, sometimes 100%, so spot. A few months ago, we were paying 1.5% premium on them. We don't pay a premium for fakes. We'll only buy fakes at scrap value. Those are good reasons not to buy fake coins. Basically, not to buy gold in Dubai on the basis that somebody's told you that gold's cheap in Dubai. It isn't necessarily cheap. It's only cheap if it's cheap. Check your prices, check the premiums, find out what you buy in, and don't buy fakes unless you can sell them for scrap and get more for them. That is about it. We're actually going to ask Mandy to just have a word here, because she spoke to the actual customer. And another point that people often make is, well, did the person selling them to us know they were fake when he bought them, or did they think they were genuine? And yes, where we can, we find out. It's basically known as provenance, knowing where it came from, a story about it. If you watch Antiques Roadshow, they're always on about provenance. We're the same here. So let's get Mandy and see what she's got to say. So whenever we do videos like this, or when we post things on, say, Silver Forum, which we haven't mentioned so far in this video, we almost always get asked, well, did your customer know they were genuine? Did he know they were fakes? Was he trying it on? And we're actually pretty good at sussing people out. And Detective Chief Inspector Mandy here is really a super sleuth. So what can you tell us?
So normally, from that first instinct, when you speak to someone, it's the way they react. And then when I spoke to this customer, he was genuinely sincere, and he was gutted. Is a big word there. This was his life savings. He lived in Dubai. Every time he came home to the UK to see family, he put a bit of money towards these sovereigns, and he was genuinely
gutted
about it.
And you're absolutely hot at figuring that out from people, aren't you? I think you did mention he'd bought them all from one or more shops at Dubai Airport.
Yes, in the duty free. As you come through, he even told me exactly where it was. You take 5 steps, one, you know, exactly where it was. But yeah, it was a jeweller's, I think he said, inside there. So yeah, he knows exactly where he got them from and told me all about it.
And I also, you made a note about it, asked could we send him photos of them, then he can take it up with the people in Dubai.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll guess anyway, but we'll do that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was more of the fact because of what I was telling him. So I just suggested, would you like me to take some photos, just so you can see what we're referring to and how we found the suspect coins, etc. And he was more than happy. You know, any information he could get for them, so he can then just make him feel better about sending it over to Dubai and see if he can and help anyway.
Because actually he's kind of done okay. I think you said he'd paid an average of about £200 each for them.
Yeah, over about a cumulative time of about 10 to 15 years, he said he did. So approximate £200. So take that with a pinch of salt. So over that time period, about £200 a coin. Yeah.
So he's actually making quite a good profit on them, which is okay.
Yeah.
I think he could have probably bought them for less in the UK, possibly from us at the time. He would have certainly got more for them if they'd have been genuine sovereigns. So he's probably lost out at both ends, and yet he's still made a profit. So I guess he's reasonably happy.
He's happy with the fact that we're buying them. Obviously, you know, he didn't expect for me to have that phone call with him. So absolutely, from the sale point of view, definitely.
Well, there's actually one thing that occurred to me, and I've thought has kept cropping up in my mind almost daily for the last couple of months. Another reason not to buy fakes, even if they've got the right amount of gold in them, is genuine British coins are exempt from capital gains tax. Mm-hmm. Fakes aren't. So if the guy's making, well, he might not be subject to UK tax, but if he was, he might have to pay capital gains tax on profit on them. So a very good reason not to buy fakes. Okay, thanks for that, Mandy. Yeah. You can get back to the flat shop now, can't you?
Thank you.
Sorry to pull you away from the work.
That's fine. Thank you very much for having me.
So, before we wind up and sign off, thanks for watching. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, you can give it a thumbs down. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, then you'll get to see the next exciting episode and more of me. Sorry about that, folks. But also, very importantly, if you've got any comments, whether it's just, oh, great, interesting, pop them down in the comments below. We like to hear them. If you've got any questions, if I've made any mistakes that you've spotted, well, shout them out. But if you've got questions, if you've got thoughts, suggestions for future videos, pop them down in the comments. We do read them all, and we do try to answer and respond to them all as well. And they may become subjects for future videos. So that's all for now. Thank you for watching. Bye.